ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। तस्मै सहोवाच प्रजाकामो वै प्रजापतिः सतपोतप्यत सतपस्तप्त्वा समिथुनमुत्पादयते रयिञ्च प्राणञ्चेति एतौ मे बहुधा प्रजाः करिष्यत इति। आदित्यो ह वै प्राणः रयिरेव चन्द्रमाः रयिर्वा एतत् सर्वम् यन्मूर्तञ्च मूर्तञ्च तस्मान्मूर्तिरेव रयिः। The first student asked a question regarding the Praja Srishti. In answer to this question, Pippalada is talking about the Srishti in various stages. The Srishti beginning from Prajapati, otherwise known as Hiranyagarbha, is being discussed here. And the Srishti is in the form of pairs. And the first pair happens to be Rayi and Prana. I said that Rayi and Prana are not exactly two things, but they are two principles representing dvandvas, pairs of opposites which are mutually complementary. When I say mutually complementary, I mean both of them together make a whole. Like day and night making a whole day. Like birth and death making a whole life. Like that, Rayi and Prana are mutually complementary pair. That is the first creation, which we called as Mithuna Srishti. And thereafterwards we are going to get Srishti in stages like Loka Srishti, Kala Srishti, Anna Srishti, and finally Praja Srishti. So after Mithuna Srishti, Loka Srishti has been introduced. It is in the form of the Chandra and Surya. The moon and the sun are said to be mutually complementary pair. Of this pair, the moon is supposed to be Rayihi and the sun is said to be Prana. Having said this, Pippalada is making a small diversion That is what we are seeing now. The idea he wants to convey is that this Rayi Prana division is only from superficial angle. If you go into the depth of Rayi, it will be none other than Prajapati himself who is the Karanam. So the essence of Rayi is Prajapati. Rayihi Prajapatyatmakaha. Prajapati Karyatva. Yatha Ghataha Mridatmakaha Kasmad Mrit Karyatvad. Yatha Abharanam Swarnatmakam Swarna Karyatvad. Evam Rayihi api Prajapatyatmakaha Prajapati Karyatvad. Since Rayi is born out of Prajapati, the essence of Rayi must be Prajapati. In the same way, when you go into the depth of Prana, the essence of Prana also is Prajapati, because Prana also is born out of Prajapati alone. And therefore, Rayi is essentially Prajapati, Prana is essentially Prajapati. And therefore, you can say everything is Rayi, or you can say everything is Prana. Remember the example, ice also can be called water, steam also can be called water, but still, when water is in gaseous form, we have agreed to call it as steam. And when the very same water is in solid form, we have agreed to call it ice. Thus, the ice-steam division caused by Murta-Amurta condition, gaseous-solid condition, it is only a superficial division. Everything is essentially water alone. And therefore, Pippalada says, Rayi alone is the entire creation, consisting of Murta Prapancha as well as Amurta Prapancha. The formed creation as well as the formless creation. So, Rayirva etat sarvam en murtancha amurtancha. But still, what we have done is, whatever is murtam, we generally call Rayi, and whatever is amurtam, we have decided to call as Prana. Really speaking, both are Rayi, but we have made a temporary Vyavaharika division, Murtam as Rayi. That's what he says, Tasmad. Tasmad means what? Yasmat amurtam pranaha ityuchyate, tasmat murtam Rayihi ityuchyate. But really speaking, Rayi is everything. Having said this much, here afterwards, what Pippalada is going to say is that the same truth can be seen in the case of Prana also. And we can say Prana is everything. And what is the logic? Prana is essentially Prajapati. Prajapati is everything, and therefore Prana is everything. So see the steps. Prana is essentially Prajapati, and Prajapati is everything, and therefore Prana is everything. This is the topic in the next 3 slokas, that is 6, 7 and 8. The topic is Pranasya Sarvatmakatvam. Rayehe Sarvatmakatvam Uktam. Kutra Uktam? 5th, Panchame Mantre, Rayirva Eta Sarvam Enmurtancha Murtancha. In the 5th mantra, the Rayi Sarvatmakatvam has been mentioned. In 6, 7 and 8, the Prana Sarvatmakatvam is to be said. But for this, Upanishad is adopting an indirect method again. It doesn't say Prana is Sarvatmakaha directly. It says Adityaha, the sun is Sarvatmakaha, is in the form of everything. And we have already seen the sun is said to be Prana, and therefore when sun is said to be everything, indirectly it means Prana is said to be everything. So Surya Dwara Pranasya Sarvatmakatvam Vadati Shrutihi. We will read that. Athaditya Udayan Yad Prachim Disham Pravishati Tena Prachyan Pranan Rashmishu Sannidhatte Yad Dakshinam Yad Pratichim Yad Uditim Yad Adaha Yad Urdhvam Yad Antara Dishaha Yad Sarvam Prakashayati Tena Sarvan Pranan Rashmishu Sannidhatte. So what happens during Suryodaya is being said here. When the sun rises, which is a very casual affair for us, majority of us won't even notice, and majority of people might not have even got up. But the Suryodaya is here intimately experienced by the author. He says, the rays of the sun gradually spreads to all directions. Prachim Disham, eastern direction, then northern, southern, and all direction it spreads. And the Surya Prakasha, which is full of life and energy, pervades everything. And by pervading, the sun is making all Jiva Rashis to be one with itself. The sun is embracing the Jiva Rashis as it were, and it is becoming one with all the Jiva Rashis. It swallows as it were. But even though it is put in such a superficial language, the idea conveyed is the sun alone is giving life and energy to all people. And therefore, the very existence of people is the sun's energy alone. And therefore, there are no people other than the sun. Even if you argue that we are surviving because of the food alone, you know, the food also consists the energy borrowed from the sun alone. Gam avishyata bhutani dharayamyaham ojasa pushnami chaushadhi sarvaha somo bhutva rasatmakaha. So the solar energy alone is ultimately going to be our solution. The scientists themselves are almost coming to that alone. They will thank Pippalada at that time, perhaps. So therefore, the Upanishad puts in a different language. The sun pervades everything, embraces everything, exchanges its energy with everything. Therefore, everything is essentially the expression of the sun alone. And therefore, Suryaha Sarvatmakaha. The life in everyone is Surya alone. That is the idea here. Atha Adityaha Udayan. Now, when the sun is rising, Prachim Disham Pravishati, and when it is spreading, entering the eastern direction, the sun entering the eastern direction means the rays of the sun spreading that direction. By that spreading, what does the sun do? Tena. So Tena means Prachidik Praveshanena. By the entry into the eastern direction, Pranan Reshmishu Sannidhatte. It absorbs all the pranas. Here pranas means pranis, all the living beings. It absorbs into its rays. It merges all the Jivarashis into its rays, and by this merger it is giving life to all Jivarashis. Therefore, the very life in all beings is given by this alone. Not only the life, according to Gayatri mantra, even the Buddhi Shakti is given by Tatsa Vitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Whether it is the physical energy that we have, or whether it is the pranic energy we have, or whether it is the intellectual energy we have, they are all supposed to be a blessing given by Surya Bhagavan. The scientists talk about the physical energy alone, but the Shastra talks about the Prana Shakti as well as the Buddhi Shakti. Therefore, they are all what? A chunk of the sun alone. In fact, according to science, the very earth itself is nothing but a portion of Surya alone. Then what to talk of the physical body, what to talk of the life that we have. Therefore, it absorbs all the pranis into its rays, first in the eastern direction. Thereafterwards what? It begins to spread to all other directions. Yad Dakshinam. Here the sentence is incomplete. We have to fill up the sentence according to the previous sentence. Yad Dakshinam Disham Pravishati Tena Dakshinatyan Pranan Reshmishu Sannidhatte. When it is entering the southern direction, it is taking or it is absorbing the pranis of the southern direction and unto itself. Similarly, yat pratichim disham pravishati, again you have to fill up in the same way. It absorbs all the pranis which are in the pratichi direction. Pratichi means what? Western. And udichim means northern. So in each one you have to fill up. Yad udichim disham pravishati, again. Then yad adhaha. So when the sun's rays pervade the adhaha. Adhaha means what? Downwards. So 4 quarters are over. Now adhaha, the downwards it is said. Yad urdhvam, when it is spreading upwards. So adhaha means under the ground also there are so many. Above the ground also there are so many. All of them. And yad antara dishaha. And when it is spreading the intermediary direction. So the 4 main quarters and the 4 intermediary quarters. Like southwest, etc. In general, the Upanishad concludes, Yat sarvam prakashayati. In short, when it is illumining all the Jiva Rashis, Tena sarvan pranan rashmishu sannidhatte. By that illumination of all beings, what the sun is doing is absorbing all the Jiva Rashis into itself, or exchanging its energy with the Jiva Rashis. In short, there is no difference between the Surya and Jiva Rashi. So solar energy alone is the energy in all the people in different form. Therefore, sarvam prakashayati tena sarvan pranan rashmishu sannidhatte. So sannidhatte means absorbs, takes unto itself, embraces, becomes one. Continuing. Sayesha Vaishwanaro Vishwarupaha Pranognirudyate Tadeta Drichabhyuktam. So because of this reason, the Surya Bhagavan gets different name. As it is said in Aditya Hridayam, varieties of names are given. All are based on this alone. What are the names? Vaishwanaraha. So Surya Bhagavan is the one which is in the form of all human beings. The Surya Bhagavan alone is the one who is in the form of all beings. The very life in every being is none other than the Surya. So Vishvecha te narascha. Vishvenaraha. Vishvenaraha eva Vaishwanaraha. Vishve means all, Naraha means human being. Human beings refers to beings here. So Surya is in the form of all beings. That means minus the Surya, no beings can be there at all. When Surya is a little bit more powerful itself, we are not able to. We cannot absorb more life. Either you say heat wave death, otherwise cold wave death. Rendu Suryanalada. Remember, both are because of the sun's presence or absence alone. Therefore, the very life is because of Surya. That is why the very word Surya comes. What is the derivation of Surya? Sushtu irayati prerayati sarvan iti Surya. That which activates everyone, preranam karoti, enlivens, activates. That's why night it is very difficult to be active. So with Suryodaya alone, energy comes. So therefore, Vaishwanaraha is the one who is Virat. The essence is Virat alone. And Vishwarupaha, the one who is in the form of everything in the creation. Vishwani, Rupani, Yasya. So the difference between Vaishwanaraha and Vishwarupaha is Vaishwanara refers to all beings, animate, and Vishwarupaha refers to all inanimate things. So the one who is in the form of all beings and the one who is in the form of all things. And another name for Surya Bhagavan is Pranaha. So the one who is the very Pranaha, the very life of all beings. Because of this reason alone, Aditya is called Pranaha. And another name is Agnihi. The one who is in the form of Agni, the fire principle. The only difference is when the fire principle is up above, we call it Surya. When the fire principle is down on the earth, we call it Agni Tattva. One is Divistha Agnihi and this is Bhuvistha Agnihi. One is down, another is up. Both are fire principles alone. That's why whether the heat is through fire or through the sun, the experience is the same. Okay. So therefore, Agnihi Udayate. That's the Surya Bhagavan who is in the form of Vaishwanara, Vishwarupaha, Pranaha and Agnihi Udayate. He rises mingling with all people. And what is the essence to be conveyed through these mantras? Remember, Suryaha Sarvatmakaha. Chitram devanamudakadanikam chaktur mitrasya varunasya agnehe apradyava prithvi antarikshagam surya atma jagatastasthusascha takchakshur devahitam purasta chukramucharat Pashyema Sharadashatam. Sharadashatam jona ஞாபகம் வரலாம் நிறைய பேருக்கு. Pashyema Sharadashatam Jeevema Sharadashatam. This is Sandhyavandana mantra. So in all the three times, especially morning and in the afternoon, the glory of Surya Bhagavan is brilliantly described. And there in the conclusion, Suryaha Atma Jagataha Tastushascha. Surya is the very Atma, the very essence, the very content of Jagataha Tattushascha, the mobile as well as the immobile, the moving as well as the non-moving, the charam as well as acharam creation. And therefore, Surya is there described as Sarvatma, and it is that indicated through this Suryodaya statement. And in support of this, here Pippalada or the Upanishad is quoting a Rig mantra. Because often Brahmana portions take the support of mantra portion. That's why in Taittiriya Upanishad often we saw Tadapyesha shloko bhavati pranan deva anuprananti, and again Tadapyesha shloko bhavati. So Veda itself quotes the Veda, but generally it is the Brahmana portion happens to be a commentary upon the mantra portion, and therefore often Brahmana portion quote mantra portion in support of itself. Similarly, this is a Brahmanopanishad. Therefore, in support of this statement, he is now quoting the Rig mantra, and that is why it is said, Tadetat Richa Abhyuktam. Tadetat means this particular idea. Which particular idea? That Surya Bhagavan alone is in the form of whole creation. Adityaha Sarvatmakaha Ityasmin Arthe or Ityayam Arthaha Richa Abhyuktam Rig Mantrena Abhyuktam is also said by the following Rig Mantra. We will get the quotation of Rig Mantra now. For that, the introduction is given by the following Rig Mantra also. Suryasya sarvatmakatvam eva uktam. Okay. What is that Rig Mantra? Number 8. Vishwarupam harinam jata vedasam Parayanam jyotirekam tapantam Sahasra rashmischatadha vartamanaha Pranah prajanam udayatyesha suryaha. So the Surya Bhagavan's description is given. Each name is an epithet of sun, showing its glory, its sarvatmakatvam. So what is Suryaha? Vishwarupam, which we saw in the previous mantra itself. Vishwani Rupani Yasya, the one who is in the form of the whole creation. Harinam, Harihi in this context means Rashmihi or rays. So Harinam means Rashmivantam, Rashmimantam Samudyantam, Devasura Namaskritam, Pujayasva Vivasvantam, Bhaskaram Bhuvaneshwaram, Sarva Devatmako Hyeshaha, Tejasvi Rashmi Bhavanaha. Okay, Aditya Hridaya. So Harinam, Rashmi Mantam, the one who is full of rays. Jata Vedasam. So the one who is omniscient. Jatam Jadam Veti iti Jata Vedah. We had seen before in Kenopanishad, Te Agnimabruvan Jata Veda Etad Vidanihi iti. Jata Vedaha means the omniscient one. And Surya Bhagavan can be called omniscient from two different angles. One meaning of omniscient is the one who illumines all. Sarvam prakashayati. And therefore it is said to be omniscient. If you take the sun as what you call a star, a material, a matter principle, you can say that sun is omniscient because it illumines everything. But really speaking, we are looking from a different angle. Even though sun is a matter bundle, jada vastu, we don't look upon Suryaha from merely jada angle, but we look upon the sun along with the Chaitanyam pervading it. And from that angle, Surya becomes a Devata. Just as every one of us is a matter bundle from the point of the body that we possess, but we get a higher status of a living being because of the Chaitanya manifest here. Similarly, everything, when you look along with the Chaitanyam, it gets the status of a living being. And from that angle, Surya represents a Devata. Hiranyagarbha is represented by that. So therefore, according to the scriptures, Surya represents the Hiranyagarbha Devata. That is why in Taittiriya Upanishad, Sayaschayam Purushe Yascha Savaditye Sayekaha. There we have said the Chaitanyam behind the human being and the Chaitanyam behind the Hiranyagarbha. Both of them are one and the same. Thus there we saw Adityaha means Hiranyagarbha alone. The same thing has to be remembered here also. From that angle, Aditya as Hiranyagarbha is Jata Veda. And in fact, whenever we are worshipping Surya Bhagavan during Sandhya Vandanam, we are not worshipping that material bundle of energy, but we are worshipping Dheyasada Savitru Mandala Madhyavarti Narayana Sarasijasana Sannivishtaha Keyuravan Makarapundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiranmayavapurdhrita Shankachakraha. Therefore, Savitru Mandala Madhyavarti Narayanaha, it is from that angle, it is said to be Jata Veda. Then Parayanam. Ayanam means abode or ashrayam, support. And Param Ayanam means the ultimate abode of all being. Sarva Bhutanam Ashrayam. In whose presence alone all beings can survive, in whose absence life itself becomes unimaginable. Okay. Then Jyotihi. You can understand. Jyotihi means Prakasha Swarupam. The one who is of the nature of effulgence. So if you take from material angle, it is the effulgence that we are experiencing. but you can look at from spiritual angle also, then Jyotihi will mean Chaitanya Swarupam. Both angles we see. Devata Drishtya Chaitanya Rupam. Surya Drishtya Prakasha Rupam. That is why in Gayatri also Satsaviturvarenyam Bhargaha. Bhargaha also we give these two meanings. Bhargaha means light or Bhargaha means consciousness also. The light of consciousness. Then Ekam. It is one. So Suryaha is Ekam. So don't say stars are many. The stars do not have the status of Surya. Stars are different as far as we are concerned, because our life is governed by this particular star alone. Therefore it is from that angle we are saying it is Ekaha. Then Tapantam. Tapantam means which shines all the time, which burns, which shines all the time. Now here the sentence is incomplete. We have to supply Rishayaha Viduhu. So the rishis know the sun to be of this nature. So Rishayaha Adityam Vishwarupam Viduhu Harinam Viduhu Jatavedasam Viduhu. The rishis know the Surya Bhagavan to be of this glory. And some more glories are pointed out here. Sahasra Rashmihi. So it is endowed with thousands of rays. And Shatadha Vartamanaha. The very same Surya Bhagavan appears, manifest in hundreds of forms. Shatadha means Vividha Prani Rupena, in the form of Manushya, Pakshi, Pashu. All of them are Surya Bhagavan's manifestation alone. So Shatadha Vartamanaha and Pranaha Prajana. It is the very prana of all beings, the very life of all beings. Who? Eshaha Suryaha. So this Surya Bhagavan. And such a Surya Bhagavan, Udayati, he rises and merges with all beings, energizing them, enlivening them, becoming one with them. And therefore there is no difference between Surya and all the beings here. And therefore Suryaha is Sarvatmakaha, and Surya is said to be Pranaha. Therefore Pranaha is Sarvatmakaha. So previously Rai has been said to be Sarvatmakaha. Now the conclusion of these three shlokas, the Tatparyam of these three shlokas is Pranaha Sarvatmakaha. So with this, Loka Srishti is over. Now we have to enter the Kala Srishti. Mantra number 9. Samvatsaro vai prajapatihi tasyajane dakshinam chottaram cha tadyeha vai tadishta purte Kritamityupasate te chandramasameva lokam abhijayante tayeva punaravartante tasmadeta rishayah prajakama dakshinam pratipadyante yeshakha vairajihi yah pitriyanaha. Now why do we come to Kala Srishti now? Because Kala is produced by means it is recognized by the movement of Surya and Chandra. Surya Chandra Nirvartitaha Kalaha. Because the day and the night as we understand is caused by Surya alone. Because of the Surya alone we have the concept of day and night. In the absence of Surya, the day-night is not possible. That is why the Surya is called Divakaraha. Divakaraha nalanardam. Diva means day. Karaha means karoti. Surya Udayaha representing the day and Astamanam representing the night. Therefore, Surya Nirvartitaha Ahoratraha. Ahoratrani Vidadhade. Okay. And the concept of Tithi from Prathama to Ammavasya to Paurnami and then Prathama Dvitiya is another concept of Kalaha, which is determined by the moon. So Chandra Nirvartitaha Nirvartita Tithihi. And this Tithi is joined together alone becomes Paksha, which joined together alone becomes Masa, which joined together alone becomes Rutu, which joined together alone becomes Ayanam, which joined together alone becomes Samvatsaram. Thus, Tithi, Paksha, Masa, Rutu, Ayana, Samvatsara, Sarve api, because of Surya and Chandra alone. Surya's contribution is day-night. Chandra's contribution is Tithi. இப்போல்லாம் யாருக்கு திதி எல்லாம் தெரியாது. டேட் மாத்திரம் தான் நமக்கு தெரியும். இன்னைக்கு என்ன திதினா யாருக்கு தெரியும்? So that concept of time is now not very much used. But in those days that was used and therefore that is being pointed out. Therefore after Surya Chandra Srishti, now we are coming to Kala Srishti because Surya Chandra Nirvartidatvat Kalasya Kala Srishtihi Idani Uchyate. And there also Samvatsaro Vai Prajapatihi. So the whole Samvatsara, the year, is said to be Prajapati. How can you say that is Prajapati? Prajapatehe Karyatva. Because it is born out of Prajapati. How do you say it is Prajapati's Karyam? Now only you said it is caused by Surya and Chandra. Contradict Pandrayani. So now tell me, Samvatsara is Surya Chandra Nirvartitahava or Prajapati Nirvartitaha. Both are right. So immediately seeing, we say that the Kala is because of the sun and moon, but the sun and moon themselves are the manifestation of Prajapati, because Adityoha vai Prajapatihi Raireva Chandramaha, it has been said. And therefore, Prajapati alone manifests in the form of Surya Chandra, and which alone manifests in the form of Samvatsara. Therefore, ultimately seeing, Prajapati's manifestation alone is Kalam also. So Prajapati's manifestation alone is Kalaha. Just like a child is a product of the parents, you can also say he is the product of grandparents, because his parents are the product of grandparents, and therefore ultimately we can say Prajapati Karyam is the Samvatsara, and therefore the Upanishad says Samvatsaro vai Prajapati. Okay. And we had previously seen Prajapati has got Mithuna Atmakatvam. Prajapati is a mixture of Rai and Prana, and therefore Samvatsara also must have this mutually complementary aspects must be there. Because if Prajapati has got mutually complementary aspects, everything born of Prajapati also will have these two. And therefore we have to find out what are the Rai Prana aspects of Samvatsara. What are they? Tasya Ayane. Samvatsaram, a year has got 2 Ayanams. Ayanam in English we have to say solstice. SOLSTICE, northern solstice and southern solstice. It's all difficult. We will use the word Ayanam only. As Ayanam is more popular as Dakshinayanam, Uttarayanam, adikade solluva. Uttarayane, at least Sankalpathilaya varum adikade. Uttarayane, Vasantartau, Mase, Pakshe, etc. So Ayane, Ayanam is Dvivachanam. Ayanam, Ayane, Ayanani. Therefore Ayane, not Saptami. Prathama Dvivachanam. And what are they? Dakshinam cha Uttaram cha. Dakshinayanam, 6 months, consisting of 6 months. And Uttarayanam consisting of 6 months. That is, from Pongal onwards, Uttarayana Punyakalam begins. January middle it comes, Uttarayanam begins. It goes up to July middle, and thereafterwards comes Dakshinayanam. So these are the 2 Ayanams of the Samvatsara, of which Dakshinayanam should represent the Rai aspect, and Uttarayanam represents the Prana aspect. And having said this much, Pippalada is going to take a diversion. So what he does is, he mentions each stage of creation and goes in for a diversion. So Surya Loka Srishti was mentioned, and afterwards we had a diversion. What was the diversion? Raihi Sarvatmakaha, Pranaha Sarvatmakaha. That was the diversion. And now we are going to get another, after the Dakshinayana, Uttarayana Srishti topic. And in fact, this following diversion is going to be the main topic in time. Sometimes PS will be very important. In the letter often to turn the attention, important news of PS. So like that, even though it is given as a side topic, in fact this is going to be the main. What is that? The Krishna Gati and the Shukla Gati are going to be discussed here, which you all know very well. You are experts in those topics, because in Mandukya we have discussed it elaborately. In the 8th chapter of Gita we have talked about it. Shukla Krishne Gati Hyete Jagata Shashvate Mate Ekaya Ayatyana Vrityam Anyaya Vartate Punaha. The only difference is, here we are going to get 2 different names, as I said in the last class. Krishna Gati will be called Pitruyanaha and Shukla Gati will be called Devayana. And these two are supposed to be the subtle paths. Gatihi means margaha or path. These two are supposed to be the two subtle margas taken by a jiva after death. After death. So taken by jiva after death to reach the Chandra Loka or Surya Loka respectively. Krishna Gati leading to Chandra Loka. Shukla Gati leading to Surya Loka. The exact details we will see in the next class. Hari.